Hey y'all, we're back with another quick and easy recipe, and this time it is seafood pot pie. You see me sauteing about half an onion, but you can do onion, you can do garlic, green pepper, fennel, leeks. It's completely up to you what you add as the aromatic to your seafood pot pie. But onion is what I had, so onion is what I sauteed. And to that, I'm adding, well, I was supposed to add 3 tablespoons of butter, salted butter, but as you can see, that 4th tablespoon made its way in, which is completely fine. And I'm going to wait for this to melt and get bubbly. And the rule of thumb when you're making a roux, which is what we're making here, is that you want to add as much flour as you add butter, drippings, whatever else. But I added a little bit less because I knew that I would have to add way too much liquid in order to get it to the consistency that I really wanted. And we're going to go ahead and cook that until it's about a light brown, like you see right here. And I'm adding 2 cups of vegetable broth, but you could add seafood, chicken, beef, it's up to you. And 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. And it's very important that while you're adding your liquid that you consistently whisk, because it prevents lumps. And you want to go ahead and season to taste. I add salt, onion powder, garlic powder, and Old Bay. Because you need Old Bay because it's seafood pot pie. And then I just whisk that in. And then I give it a taste, because you always want to taste what you're serving to other people just to make sure that you're not serving them a cup of hot water. And I decided that it needed a little bit more salt, and it also needed some more Old Bay. I added about 2 ounces of cream cheese, which is completely optional. I just wanted to try something out, and it gave it a really, really good creaminess. So you can add it in, you cannot add it in. It's completely up to you. And to that, I'm adding my seafood. I added shrimp and I added some imitation crab meat. But, you know, it's your kitchen. So you can add shrimp, lobster, crab, mussels, oysters, clams. It's completely up to you. It is your pot pie. Whatever you want to add, go ahead and add. And I also added some mixed vegetables, but I took the green beans out because I don't really like it in this recipe. And once you have everything together, this is what it should look like. It looks amazing. It looks amazing already. I really could have ate that out the pot exactly how it is. Then I added some hot sauce. I set my oven to 425, and we're going to start the pie building process. So I added enough filling to go up to the very top of the pie crust. And I also want to note that you should allow your frozen pie crust to sit out for about 20 minutes until the crust is malleable. Not completely thawed out, but malleable, because it's going to make the next step so much easier. All right, so this is my 6th time trying to explain via voiceover what I'm doing in this next step. So hopefully this time is successful and it makes sense what I'm doing, especially from this camera angle. So this first step is pretty self-explanatory. Just take that crust and lay it over the bottom crust. And what I'm doing here is using my fingers to feel for the bottom crust. And I was going to use a knife, but I decided that was doing too much. So what I did was I pressed the top crust against the foil pan of the bottom crust, and it ended up cutting right through, and it was so much quicker and easier than using a knife. As you can see, using my finger, pressing the top crust against the foil, cut right through. It was perfect. Ended up being the perfect size and all that. And then I'm taking a fork and I'm pressing the bottom crust and the top crust together. And if you remember, I mentioned your bottom crust being malleable, and this is why. You want to make sure that you're able to really press those crusts together. And every once in a while you see me doing like a little pushing motion towards the center, and that's me pushing the filling back to the center, because you want to make sure that none of your filling comes out prior to it going in the oven. And just for some extra security, I took my fingers and I tucked the edges of the pie crust under, just to make it extra tight. And I cut some vents in the top of the pie crust to make sure that any steam that may build up can escape. And what you want to do is you want to get an egg, and you want to get cream, milk. Some people use water and make an egg wash. And this is what gives pies those really beautiful golden brown, shiny, that really shiny color. At first I was using a spoon because I don't have a brush, but the spoon went into the pie crust, as you can see right there. But since my pie crust was malleable, I just used my fingers to push it together, and just ended up using my fingers, which are very clean, by the way, which, you know, your hands should be when you're in the kitchen. You want to make sure that this egg wash layer isn't very thick, because when it's done, it will have like an eggy texture if you're not careful. And it's going into the oven, 425 for 30 minutes, and that is the final product. They are absolutely beautiful. They looked good. They tasted even better. This is a recipe that you should definitely try. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you try the recipe, let me know.